I'm still Jason Salas. Thank you so much for tuning in. Well, many are going to celebrate the Navy Reserve Centennial. And joining me right now, I'm very pleased, honored, and privileged to welcome to our Harmon Studios Vice Admiral Robin Braun. You are the Chief of Navy Reserve Commander, so it's a great honor to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jason. Great to be with you today, and wonderful to be in Guam.
All right, so we're very happy to have you here. Have we been hospitable hosts thus far?
Oh, wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. So it's great to be here. We got in last night, and we're just thrilled to be able to meet so many wonderful sailors and people that support the Navy on the island.
And we hope as civilians we're adequately feeding you.
Absolutely.
that is the key element. Well, and we're also happy to have you here because Guam has had such a strong, positive relationship historically with the military. So what makes this centennial celebration so distinct and such a momentous occasion?
Well, we're celebrating the centennial of the Navy Reserve, and so 100 years of service to the nation from reserve sailors. So these are part-time sailors, so they support the Navy in a surge capacity, or maybe if the Navy needs specialties, then these sailors come in to support. So they have civilian jobs as well as their military job that they do part-time. So this 100 years of service, we're glad to be here to be able to thank the veterans, the currently serving sailors, the family members, and especially the employers that support them. And Guam is wonderful about supporting their military and especially the Navy Reserve.
How does one become a member of the Navy Reserve, and what's the process? And maybe, if you can differentiate that between, like, if someone was to go, full active duty.
Well, if you go to a recruiting station, then you can tell them whether you want to go active duty or whether you want to join the reserve. And so the training pipeline is exactly the same. It's just that once you finish that training, you either go to full-time active duty or you go back to your hometown and then you drill part-time as a reserve sailor. And so the commitment is about 38 days a year minimum. And so 2 days a month and 2 weeks a year, sometime active duty. And so it's about 38 days a year for the minimum commitment.
38 days is not a bad sacrifice to make for a lifetime of pride.
Absolutely. That's absolutely true. And we need good people. We need people who have served before on active duty, but we also need people with skill sets like medical personnel, logistics personnel, human resources, public affairs officers, so we can always use broadcasters in the Navy Reserve.
Hey.
And I was talking with Jason earlier, trying to recruit him into the Navy Reserve, but there are a lot of different capabilities in the Navy Reserve that we bring to the force.
Well, Guam, as I said, we've had so much reverence for our friends in the military, and Guam has sent so many of our sons and daughters into the military. That's always been something we're very, very proud to be part of.
Right, and yeah. I'm especially proud of the reserve sailors that serve here on Guam because in many cases we've asked them since 9/11 to go forward to places like Afghanistan, Djibouti, Africa, Guantanamo Bay, and so they've left the island and they've gone forward for anywhere from 6 months to a year, and so their families have supported them and their employers have supported them. So that's one thing I'm here to do, is to recognize some of those employers tomorrow at a ceremony and thank them for their support of their reserve sailors.
Ma'am, you gave the perfect segue because I want to say, how do we commemorate this event and what is being done? What types of activities do you have lined up?
Well, tomorrow we'll have a special luncheon that will highlight the employers of our reserve sailors, and especially some of them who have really gone above and beyond during their employees' service in the reserve component. And so we'll be having a luncheon for them tomorrow. We'll be doing some awards and then some recognition of both sailors and the employers.
Now, I must mention some of your own. You've got a wildly distinguished, if that is a correct moniker to use, a resume. Now, some of them you are designated as a naval aviator, and obviously, but by virtue of your uniform, you're very, very decorated, very justifiably so. What does it mean to you to represent the United States Navy and serve in this command and in this capacity?
Well, serving as the commander of the Navy Reserve has just been such an honor for me to represent those 60,000 Americans around the world who support the Navy Reserve. Is just really an honor. And so I look at those service members and I look at the sacrifices that they make, and I'm just very honored to serve next to them. And of course, I've been in the Navy for 36 years now, either in an active component role or a reserve component role. And what a privilege and honor to be able to travel the world and represent our nation in uniform. And so, of course, I've been to Guam many times before, often flying people into Guam in a Navy airplane. And so this is my first time to come in as the commander of the Reserve Force. So really an honor to be here.
Kind of like lean back a little bit and enjoy the ride?
Well, I have to admit, I like being up front driving the airplane as opposed to being in the back.
I was going to say, once you've actually flown the plane, it's probably never the same
That's right.
thing.
It's never the same.
Well,
So-
what can we as Guamanians do to better support and, be more active in the role with the Navy Reserve?
Well, I think just the support that you give to all of the military services here, the Navy, the Air Force, the Guard and Reserve that's here, the support that the civilians give, the civilian communities give, is very important. And so, especially when you look at those who are in the Guard and Reserve, that employer support is really key. And so we very much appreciate all those employers out there who support their members who want to serve in a part-time status.
All right, my friends, if you want to find out more about the Navy Reserve or the Reserve Forces of any of the United States military branches, you can check our YouTube channel, KUAM.com/YouTube for that. Ma'am, do you have anything else that you'd like to pass along to us?
No, thank you very much, Jason. I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you today.
Well, it's been a great honor for me to meet you and to sit here and interview with you. And thank you for what you do, as well as all of your brothers and sisters in uniform for our country.
Thanks, Jason.
May I just ask real quickly and everything, what is your favorite movie about the United States Navy?
My favorite movie.
Kind of a little bit of a curveball there, but
Oh, goodness. If you ask an aviator's going to say Top Gun, right?
good choice.
So,
Fantastic choice.
all right.
All right, well, thank you so much.
Thanks, Jason.
All right, please stay tuned, everybody. Maybe go rent Top Gun. Check it out on Netflix, but come back. We're right back after this.